Being an asshole is a weak person's idea of strength. Complaining is their connection. Never let yourself be held back by other people's fears. People criticize what they were afraid to do themselves because bold action reminds them of their own inaction. If you're afraid to be criticized, why do you care about the opinions of those who are too timid to do it themselves? If you are the criticizer, does tearing down someone who has the courage you lack make you better?
If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who can do it. A woman cooking dinner has only to act like a great chef to turn out a better meal. The student who begins to act like a top student will begin to get better grades. You can even look much better by simply acting like the person you would most like to look like and be like.
Some people, they lose real people around him. They lose them because real people who love you, they're gonna tell you true. But fake people, they always say, oh, you good, you good, you good. You know, it's like they never say to you nothing because they don't want to upset you. Because they know they're gonna lose this comfortable zone. But you know, it's like, but real people, they don't care about this. They was with you before you become famous and rich, and they don't care about your money, they don't care about your fame. They just love you. And when they say to you true, you don't like this because of your ego.
It's rarely the information or the intensity that makes things hard. It's the sticking with it that makes it hard. And so the desire that we have to quit is simply breaking the consistency. And so that's why consistency has always been the hardest thing for most people to achieve. But the intensity of what you have to do to be successful is much lower than most people expect. Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes they suffer significantly more in a short period of time than is required to be successful over a much longer period of time with a much lower intensity. The path of personal development is befriending uncertainty. Almost all decisions that you make in the beginning, you have incomplete data and you have to make decisions anyways. It's growing comfortable with taking your best bad guess and being directionally correct rather than searching for a perfect answer, because a perfect answer assumes perfect information, which you can only have after you begin.
You just gotta weather it and keep on walking and don't flinch. Don't let them know they got you. Don't let them know they got you. You just gotta keep on going. No matter what the day is, no matter what the move is, keep going. God gave us everything to point forward, to go forward. And what we doing at a standstill, or stepping back, because we don't do that. Right. We keep on walking, regardless of what they say, what they think, and how they feel.
The greatest version of you demands that you are extreme. I can tell you this, that every great person I know has this extreme personality, this intense, passionate desire to cut out negativity, to constantly lean into the sides of their comfort zone, to keep the promises to themselves, even when you don't feel like doing things, by the way. There's gonna be plenty of times where you don't feel like waking up, but you do it anyway. You don't feel like getting your workout in, but you do it anyway. You don't feel like drinking your 30 ounces of water, but you do it anyway. You don't feel like reading that book, but you do it anyway. You don't feel like making that sales call, but you do it anyway. You don't feel like eating clean, but you do it anyway, because that is what greatness demands of us.
In life, you have to have no fear. You have to have no fear. You have to believe in who you are and what you do, and just go fucking get it. Don't be afraid to tell somebody no.
The next year is going to go by whether you're doing something about your life or not. And they may think, oh my God, I'm so far overweight, I'll never get it under control, or I'm so behind in my bills, or I'm so, just depressed, or everything is so out of control. Well, you know what? You make those incremental changes, and then, pretty soon in December you go, hey, I'm way better off than I was at the end of February. So you made little changes and they all added up. And if you don't, by the end of the year, you're just in deeper. So every little bit matters. Did you do what you said you were going to do by this time? And if you don't, hold your feet to the fire, because just sitting around dreaming someday, someday I'm going to get a different job. Someday I'm going to change this. Well, someday ain't a day of the week. You know, there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look on your calendar. Some days not on there. So you got to say, okay, I'm going to take this small step by here, this small step by there, this small step by there. And then pretty soon, you know, we don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. We take it a floor at a time.
This part of the journey is, in my opinion, the hardest part, because you have this idea, you have this dream, you have this vision that nobody else can see. Your friends can't see it, your family can't see it, motherfuckers on the internet sure as can't see it, and you don't have any reason or any credibility to stand on and say, see, I can do this. So it makes it extremely hard. But I want to remind you, as someone who's been down the gauntlet of this process, that those conversations change. And as you become more and more successful, if you are willing to ignore the criticisms of these people, the conversation will start to sound like this. Oh, hey man, are you still working on that thing? Man, that's pretty cool. And the conversation starts to change.
The human mind can only really grow through resistance. You can only strengthen your character and become a really strong person inside if you have resistance, if you fail, if you get up again, and if you work hard, and if you work your ass off, and if you struggle. The more you struggle, the further you're going to go and the stronger you're going to get. So it's just the way the rule works. Anyone that tries to baby themselves and pamper themselves and trying to protect themselves, oh, I don't want to feel bad, or I don't really want to go through any discomfort, it's over. You're never going to get there. That's just the way it is. I mean, you have to be able to struggle, and if you're not able to, work on that. Work on that you're learning how to accept pain, misery, and discomfort, all of the things that you don't like, because the more you experience the things that you really don't like, the more you can grow, and the tougher you get, and the more you can handle.
Start with action and make small promises to yourself that you don't break. If you had a friend and every single time that you and your friend decided that you were going to go out for dinner, that friend either showed up 2 hours late or didn't show up at all, you would stop trusting that person. That is the relationship that you have with yourself. You need to be able to trust your own word. And a lot of us don't, because life is very convenient and it is easy for people to not stick to the promises that they set themselves, because our ability to be idealistic is always going to outstrip reality's ability to deliver that to us. As soon as you posit an ideal, you then begin to compare yourself to that ideal. And true hell is when the person that you are meets the person that you could have been.
One thing I did wrong in my life was I tried for so many years to please people. And I did it at the expense of myself. I was leaving a lot in the tank, and when you do that, you stop living.
Life is a range of emotions. Yeah. To not want to experience something, one, is inevitable, but two, it's the fear of the pain that comes attached to that you don't want. Mm-hmm. When you understand that that's naturally a part of life, you embrace it and you navigate through it, because that's what life has to offer you. And the fact that you're alive and you get to experience it is the gift, whether it at the time seems enjoyable or not. You chase things that you can't catch. Mm-hmm. You don't chase things that belong to you. Yeah. Right? So people chase happiness because they think that that's what they need, when in reality, happiness is just a byproduct of becoming the best version of yourself. So instead of chasing the emotion, become the type of person that is experiencing that emotion, and you can be in that state more consistently.
How do you overcome fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of fear itself? You step. And how do you face the fear of the unknown? You step. Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. No, no, and no. Instead, be aggressive. Take action now. And what is the first action that you need to take? What's the first step you need to take? The first step you need to take is just that. Step.
The one thing that made me who I am today is being vulnerable. It's breaking myself down to the absolute rock bottom and being able to tell people who I am. And that's how I fixed it. Literally, being able to look somebody in the eye and say, you know what, man, I have a whole bunch of character problems, character flaws. I've lied about this. I've cheated here. I'm insecure here. This isn't the real me. I lied to you about that. I wanted your acceptance in life. All those things happen, but the thing about it is that we get judged so quickly by who we are. We don't know. We don't go to where it happened. You know, life created this person, me. Life created me to be this fucked up person that I was back in the day. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix this shit, though. Mm-hmm. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where the shit started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, hey, I'm fucked up. I'm gonna go back and fix this, though.
What could you do to improve yourself? Well, let's step one step backwards. The first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is something like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. And maybe so others don't have to either. It's something like that. You know, like there's a real injunction at the bottom of it. It's not some casual self-help doctrine. It's that if you don't organize yourself properly, you'll pay for it, and in a big way, and so will the people around you. It's very rare that you can find someone who's in excruciating pain who would ever say, well, it would be no better if I was out of this. Sort of pain is one of those things that brings the idea that it would be better if it didn't exist along with it. It's incontrovertible.
Be grateful. Be grateful for every single second. The goods, the bads, the ups, the downs, and learn from everything, not only from your mistakes. Learn from everything. Learn from your highest points, your everything. And again, be grateful. Be grateful for why you can't figure it out. Can't understand why you're so fucking awesome. Can't figure out why you're so great. Can't figure out why you're so ahead of your time. Can't figure out why you have answers to things that no one even knows the question to. Be grateful for that.
Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down or not going the way that you want it to. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one that's to come?
The only advice I would have would be to not listen to anyone and to do what you love and to make things that you love, whatever it is. Make your favorite things. Be the you be the audience. Make the thing for you the audience. And it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. And if you have to get a job to support yourself so that you can make your art, that's fine. You can't make art for someone else. You can't make art with someone else in mind. I don't believe it can be good.
Everyone thinks you're crazy until it works. And so, I mean, if you think of the outcome as the trump card, then all of the pain and suffering that you lead up to that point, if you're just that no matter what, you will die or you will get there, then the likelihood that all of the things that you've done up to that point will then be justified in retrospect is super high. You always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you.
If you understood the power of your thoughts, you'd never think negatively ever again. I also think that once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things. If something bad happens to you, it's part of God's plan. He knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? And truthfully, you're like, no, I'm kind of glad it all happened because of. So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things. And I think if you take these approaches, if you take the approach of manifesting what you want so you're constantly motivated and understanding all the bad things that happen to you are just a lesson and one day you're going to get over it, it's pretty easy to be a happy, contented, balanced person. I don't think there's any serious magic to happiness. I think it's a choice and it's pretty easy to do. I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it and they're trying their very best and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps the people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life and they have no objectives to try and conquer are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer. I know me as a man, I'm happiest when I suffer.
So sometimes when you think you're making the wrong decision or you have to making the toughest decision because you're thinking about somebody else and the consequences, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret. And that bill from regret is generational. And there's a lot of people listening to this that bill has been passed on from generation to generation, and you are holding that bill right now. And somebody in one of your generations has to pay that bill off.
If you could change the way you wake up in the morning, stop saying, I got to go to work. I got to work out. I got to get this weight off of me. I got to go and meet with the people at the school. I got to deal with my coworkers. Change one word in that sentence and everything about your life changes. I get to wake up in the morning. I get to go to work. I get to go and meet with these people today. When you say I got to, you take all of your opportunities and all of your blessings and you wrap them up in stress by saying I got to. You take all the stress off of it when you say I get to.
I always say the best day of a man's life is the day he realizes that nobody's coming to save him. If he can know that and feel peace about it and almost be excited about it because he gets to go fight his own hero's journey, he'll win. If he can accept it, he'll win. Because you take entire responsibility for your life. Too many people give up responsibility in their life so they can point the finger at somebody else. If you take all of it, even when it's not your fault, I've had to do this so many times, particularly around hiring. You take responsibility for everything, regardless of whose fault it is, or the market, or a race, or religion, or who's president. I don't give a fuck who's president. I'm gonna win no matter what your blind grandmother could be president. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna do the same thing I did yesterday.